Lights up. U.S. Navy MH-60 Seahawk hovers over the South China Sea. Suddenly, a Chinese Type 052D destroyer appears on the radar, closing fast. The helicopter crew feels the tension. Every second counts. 0:03 a.m. A Chinese J-11 fighter jet streaks across the horizon, diving toward the helicopter. The rotor shakes. The pilot reacts instantly. This is not a drill. This is real. If you want to see how this encounter almost sparked a military crisis and understand the tactics, equipment, and decisions that saved the day, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon now. The South China Sea has always been a hotspot for global military tensions. It is a region of immense strategic importance. Over $3 trillion in trade passes through these waters every year. China claims most of the sea as its own, building artificial islands and military bases. The United States conducts regular freedom of navigation operations to challenge these claims and reassure allies like the Philippines, Japan, and Taiwan. Helicopters, like the MH-60 Seahawk, routinely deployed from U.S. Navy ships to conduct reconnaissance, surveillance, and rapid response missions. These missions are often high stakes, hovering close to Chinese-controlled areas while gathering intelligence. The U.S. Navy helicopter involved in this incident was part of a routine patrol. The MH-60 Seahawk is designed for versatility, can perform anti-submarine warfare, search and rescue, and close reconnaissance. Its radar, sensors, and electronic countermeasures allow it to detect threats at long distances. But even with advanced technology, human judgment is critical. Pilots must make split-second decisions when confronted with unexpected threats. In contested areas like the South China Sea, a single miscalculation can escalate into a full military confrontation. China's military posture in the region is equally aggressive. The People's Liberation Army Navy plan has modernized rapidly over the last 2 decades. Destroyers like the Type 052D are equipped with vertical launch missile systems, capable of engaging air, surface, and submarine targets simultaneously. Chinese fighter jets, including the J-11 and J-16, regularly patrol disputed areas, enforcing Chinese claims and testing foreign aircraft responses. Their electronic warfare capabilities can jam radar, disrupt communications, and track moving targets with high accuracy. These factors make encounters with U.S. helicopters particularly tense and unpredictable. The geopolitical stakes are also high. Taiwan lies just a few hundred miles from the patrol area. The U.S. has a commitment to support Taiwan under the Taiwan Relations Act. Any incident near these waters can quickly draw international attention. Moreover, Russia's recent actions in Eastern Europe have put the U.S. on high alert for potential military escalations worldwide. Every helicopter flight, every patrol, carries the risk of confrontation. It is not just about intelligence gathering. It is about demonstrating presence, readiness, and deterrence. Historical context shows that helicopter encounters in contested waters are nothing new. In 2001, a USE P-3 reconnaissance plane collided with a Chinese fighter jet near Henan Island. That incident escalated tensions for weeks. More recently, U.S. Navy helicopters have faced aggressive maneuvers by Chinese ships and aircraft, including close flybys and radar locks. These encounters test both the technical limits of aircraft and the nerves of the crews. The rules of engagement are clear. Respond defensively, avoid escalation, and prioritize crew safety. But following these rules under pressure is easier said than done. The crew of this MH-60 Seahawk understood the risks. They were trained for high-pressure situations. Pre-flight briefings covered potential threats, escape routes, and contingency plans. The helicopter carried multiple defensive systems, chaff and flare dispensers, radar warning receivers, and encrypted communications. The crew could communicate with the carrier strike group, requesting support if necessary. Still, the unpredictable element was always present: China's decisions in real time. An aggressive maneuver from a destroyer or jet could force the helicopter into a dangerous position in seconds. The mission that night was straightforward in theory: patrol contested waters, monitor Chinese activity, and return safely. In practice, it was anything but simple. The helicopter's sensors detected multiple surface and air contacts approaching from different directions. Decisions had to be made instantly. Should the helicopter maintain altitude or descend? Speed up or slow down? Should they attempt evasive maneuvers or hold their position? Each choice carried risk. The helicopter was vulnerable in open water, with limited maneuverability compared to fighter jets. Yet the crew remained focused, relying on training and teamwork to navigate the tense environment. This setup highlights why encounters like this are high-stakes games of nerve and skill. Both sides understand the rules of engagement, but operate under immense pressure. Technology, training, and strategy all intersect in these moments. The South China Sea is more than just water. It is a stage for military chess, where each move is carefully calculated, but one wrong step can have global consequences. The stage was set that night, and the helicopter crew was about to face a challenge that would test every skill they had. 0:05 a.m., the MH-60 Seahawk hovered quietly above the waves, its sensors scanning the horizon. Suddenly, multiple contacts appeared on the radar, fast-moving, coordinated, and closing in. A Chinese Type 052D destroyer was approaching from the northeast, its radar locked onto the helicopter. At the same time, a J-11 fighter jet appeared from the west, banking sharply as it accelerated toward the helicopter. The crew's hearts raced, but training kicked in immediately. Every second mattered. The helicopter's pilot, with over a decade of experience, assessed the situation. The destroyer was closing at 25 knots, while the jet was performing aggressive maneuvers, clearly signaling an attempt to intimidate. The Seahawk's radar picked up the jet's electronic emissions tracking was precise, dangerous. This was no routine patrol. This was a test of skill, nerve, and technology. The crew had to react fast, anticipating the movements of both the jet and the destroyer. 0:07 a.m. The helicopter altered its heading slightly, keeping a safe distance from the destroyer while trying to maintain surveillance of nearby shipping lanes. The J-11 responded instantly, performing a low dive beneath the helicopter and then climbing sharply, a clear show of force. The crew could feel the turbulence in the rotor wash, and the communication officer was in constant contact with the carrier strike group, providing updates on the developing situation. The air was thick with tension. The Chinese destroyer's radar continued to track the helicopter. Warning signals flashed on the Seahawk's cockpit: display missile readiness, tracking locks. The pilot engaged countermeasures, releasing chaff and flares in a defensive pattern. The helicopter's crew knew that any sudden movement could trigger a catastrophic escalation. The standard procedure was to hold course while signaling intent through communication channels. But the Chinese operators were silent, using electronic warfare tactics to jam certain communications. 0:09 a.m. A second J-11 appeared, coming from the southeast. The Seahawk was now flanked from two directions. The pilot executed a series of evasive maneuvers, sharp turns, rapid altitude changes, and small bursts of acceleration. The crew maintained situational awareness, constantly monitoring the radar and optical sensors. The tension was palpable. One wrong move could bring the helicopter into the range of surface-to-air missiles. Yet the crew remained calm and precise, relying on their training. The onboard tactical officer calculated the optimal escape route. Combination of altitude adjustments and heading changes would allow the Seahawk to disengage without provoking an attack. Meanwhile, the flight engineer monitored the helicopter's systems, ensuring engines and rotors operated at peak performance under extreme stress. Every second counted as the helicopter threaded through potential threats. The pilot's decision-making was the difference between survival and disaster. 0:12 a.m. The first J-11 broke off briefly, circling back at a higher altitude. The second fighter maintained a closer intercept path. The Seahawk's crew coordinated silently, using hand signals and pre-planned maneuvers. They kept the helicopter within sensor range of the carrier strike group, ensuring backup support was available. The destroyer maintained a steady course, its missile systems still tracking. The situation had escalated to the edge of a direct confrontation, yet the crew's discipline prevented further provocation. 0:15 a.m. The decision point arrived. The pilot executed a controlled retreat toward international waters, maintaining altitude while slowly increasing distance. The first J-11 attempted one final aggressive pass, but the Seahawk's countermeasures and evasive maneuvers were precise. The second fighter mirrored the movement, maintaining a threatening posture, but not engaging. On board, the The crew exhaled quietly. The threat had not been neutralized, but it had been managed. By 0:20 a.m., the helicopter had cleared the immediate threat zone. The Chinese destroyer slowed, maintaining observation, but the intercept ended without incident. Communications with the carrier strike group confirmed safe disengagement. The crew had executed every procedure flawlessly. No weapons were fired. No collision occurred. But the encounter would be analyzed in detail for weeks, both in Washington and Beijing. This incident illustrated the fine line between routine operations and potential conflict. The Seahawk crew's skill, training, and calm decision-making prevented disaster. At the same time, the Chinese military demonstrated aggressive deterrence tactics, testing the limits of U.S. operational protocols. Every action, every maneuver, was calculated, measured, and deliberate. This was not luck. This was professionalism under extreme pressure. The U.S. MH-60 Seahawk is a highly versatile helicopter designed to operate in higher-risk environments. Its sensors include advanced radar, infrared cameras, and electronic warfare suites. These systems allow the crew to detect and track multiple targets simultaneously. The Seahawk is also equipped with chaff and flare dispensers to counter missile threats. During the encounter, these systems played a critical role. When the Chinese J-11 fighters performed aggressive intercepts, the Seahawk's radar warning receiver immediately detected the threat and alerted the crew. Countermeasures were deployed in real time, creating a protective shield of chaff and flares that confused tracking systems. The Seahawk's flight systems also contributed to its survivability. Its twin turboshaft engines provide high-powered two-weight ratio, allowing rapid climbs and sharp turns. The rotor design minimizes vibration and allows precise maneuvering. The helicopter can hover steadily at low altitudes or accelerate to over 150 knots when necessary. In a contested environment, these capabilities give pilots options to evade surface-to-air missile threats or aggressive fighter intercepts. The combination of avionics, countermeasures, and flight performance made the Seahawk an effective platform for this tense situation. On the Chinese side, the Type 052D destroyer is a modern multi-role surface combatant. It carries vertical launch systems capable of firing surface-to-air and anti-ship missiles. The ship's radar array can track dozens of aerial and surface targets at once. In this incident, the destroyer used its Aegis-like system to track the helicopter. But the Seahawk's altitude adjustments and electronic countermeasures prevented any missile engagement. The Chinese vessel also employs electronic warfare systems to jam enemy communications and sensors. During the encounter, brief signal interference disrupted some of the Seahawk's non-critical systems. But crew training ensured no operational failure. The Chinese J-11 fighter jets added another layer of complexity. These aircraft are designed for air superiority missions and are capable of supersonic speeds. They carry medium-range missiles, targeting pods, and advanced radar. The pilots conducted classic intercept maneuvers, high-speed dives, banking turns, and radar lock-on to pressure the Seahawk. Despite this, the helicopter's evasive maneuvers kept it outside effective missile range. The J-11s were able to demonstrate tactical dominance, but were constrained by rules of engagement. A missile launch would have triggered a major international crisis. The encounter also highlighted the importance of real-time communication and coordination. The Seahawk crew maintained constant contact with their carrier strike group. This allowed immediate updates on Chinese ship positions, air patrol patterns, and potential backup support. The flight officer monitored all channels, ensuring no critical information was missed. Similarly, the Chinese forces were communicating internally to coordinate their destroyer and fighter jets. Both sides were effectively running parallel command operations under extreme stress. From a tactical perspective, several decisions determined the outcome. First, the Seahawk maintained optimal altitude and distance, staying outside the destroyer's effective missile range while keeping visual and radar contact. Second, countermeasure deployment was precise and timed to confuse tracking systems. Third, maneuvering patterns avoided predictable flight paths, reducing the risk of intercept by fighter jets. Fourth, continuous monitoring of electronic signals prevented surprises from Chinese electronic warfare operations. All these factors combined to prevent escalation while ensuring intelligence objectives were met. Comparing this encounter to historical helicopter incidents shows how technology and training have evolved. Unlike earlier confrontations, where miscommunications often led to collisions or aggressive engagement, modern helicopters like the Seahawk have advanced sensors and countermeasures. Crew training emphasizes threat assessment, escape routes, and defensive maneuvers. Pilots are drilled repeatedly in high-pressure simulations that replicate encounters with multiple threats simultaneously. This preparation allowed the crew to remain calm, react decisively, and safely disengage from a complex threat environment. In summary, the technical elements, the Seahawk's avionics, countermeasures, and maneuverability combined with the destroyer's missile systems. Fighter jets and electronic warfare capabilities created a high-stakes environment. Both sides were fully aware of the risks and operating within established protocols. The outcome was determined not just by technology, but by the disciplined application of tactics, real-time decision-making, and crew skill. The encounter demonstrated the lethal combination of modern military hardware and professional training in contested waters. By 0:20 a.m., the MH-60 Seahawk had safely disengaged from the immediate threat zone. The helicopter maintained altitude, heading toward international waters, an increased distance from the Chinese destroyer and fighter jets. The tense encounter had lasted roughly 20 minutes, but every second felt like an eternity for the crew. On board, the team ran through post-incident checks, ensuring no systems were damaged and all equipment remained fully operational. Every countermeasure, sensor reading, and evasive maneuver had worked as designed. The crew had executed their mission successfully, but the stakes had been incredibly high. The immediate outcome was clear. No shots were fired. No weapons were used, and no physical contact occurred between the helicopter, Chinese fighters, or the destroyer. Yet, the incident had been a powerful demonstration of deterrence and resolve from both sides. The United States showed that its aircraft could operate in contested waters without backing down, relying on technology, training, and precision. China, in turn, showcased its willingness to assert control over its claimed territory. Testing the limits of U.S. operations, both sides had signaled strength, but restraint prevented a catastrophic escalation. After returning to the carrier strike group, the Seahawk crew debriefed with mission commanders. They provided detailed accounts of every maneuver, communication, and threat detected. The incident was recorded, analyzed, and fed into broader operational assessments for future missions. Commanders noted the effectiveness of the helicopter's evasive maneuvers and countermeasures. They also highlighted the need for continued monitoring of Chinese electronic warfare capabilities. The engagement offered a rare, real-world test of tactics and technology in a highly contested maritime environment. The Chinese military also evaluated the encounter. Analysts reviewed radar data, fighter jet maneuvers, and destroyer tracking. While no public statement was made immediately, internal reports emphasized the importance of assertive patrols, quick response times, and coordinated operations between air and sea units. The event became a learning opportunity for both sides, offering lessons in threat assessment, decision-making under pressure, and the limitations of current military assets. These lessons would shape future patrols, intercepts, and engagement strategies in the region. Beyond the immediate tactical lessons, the encounter had strategic significance. The South China Sea is a corridor for vital trade and military movements. Demonstrating operational capability in this area reassured U.S. allies and sent a clear message to China. Aggressive maneuvers will be detected, countered, and reported. At the same time, the Chinese demonstration of military presence reinforced their claims and highlighted their growing capabilities in naval and aerial warfare. The incident underscored the delicate balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region, where every helicopter flight and patrol has implications far beyond the immediate moment. International observers and media outlets also reported the standoff. Analysts emphasized that while no confrontation occurred, the close encounter highlighted the ongoing risk of miscalculation. Any misstep, misread signal, an incorrect maneuver, or a technical failure could have led to escalation. Governments in the region took note, updating protocols for their own operations and ensuring clear communication channels in case similar incidents occurred. The incident became a case study in restraint, strategy, and professionalism in a high-pressure environment. Finally, the crew returned to routine operations, but the experience left a lasting impact. Every member knew how quickly a mission could shift from routine surveillance to potential crisis. The encounter reinforced the importance of training, preparation, and disciplined decision-making. It also highlighted the evolving nature of modern military confrontations, where technology, human skill, and geopolitical stakes intersect. For the U.S. Navy, this incident would become an example of how to manage risk, maintain operational objectives, and avoid unnecessary escalation, even in the face of aggressive and unpredictable opposition. In summary, the outcome of the encounter was a combination of operational success, strategic messaging, and critical learning. The helicopter completed its mission, the crew returned safely, and both militaries gained valuable insight into each other's capabilities and tactics. It was a high-stakes standoff resolved without violence, demonstrating professionalism, technology, and the careful balance required in modern military operations in contested waters. The encounter between the U.S. MH-60 Seahawk and Chinese forces in the South China Sea serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance in modern military operations. What may have appeared to some as a routine helicopter patrol was, in reality, a high-stakes encounter where technology, training, and judgment intersected under extreme pressure. The stakes are not just tactical, they are strategic, with implications for regional stability, global trade, and international relations. This event shows that every decision, every maneuver, and every second counts in the modern theater of military operations. The professionalism displayed by the U.S. helicopter crew illustrates the importance of training in high-pressure scenarios. These pilots and crew members operate in some of the most complex and dangerous environments in the world. From pre-flight briefings to contingency planning, they are prepared for situations where split-second decisions can mean the difference between life and death. The Seahawks crew demonstrated calm, disciplined execution of evasive maneuvers, effective use of countermeasures, and precise communication with their carrier strike group. Their actions ensured that the mission objectives were achieved while avoiding escalation into a direct conflict. On the other side, the Chinese forces displayed calculated assertiveness, a combination of a modern destroyer with advanced missile systems and highly capable GI-11 fighters created a credible threat environment. These forces tested the U.S. helicopter without crossing the threshold into direct engagement. From a strategic perspective, this was a demonstration of capability and control over claimed waters, a signal to both regional actors and the United States that China is prepared to defend its interests aggressively. The encounter reflects the evolving nature of Chinese military doctrine, which emphasizes rapid response, precision, and psychological pressure to assert dominance in contested regions. The broader implications of the event extend beyond the immediate encounter. The South China Sea is a critical maritime corridor. Over $3 trillion in global trade passes through these waters each year. Any disruption or miscalculated military incident could have far-reaching economic and geopolitical consequences. Close encounters like this one highlight the persistent risk of miscalculation. Even without direct engagement, the potential for accidents, mechanical failure, or human error remains high. This is why rigorous rules of engagement, clear communication channels, disciplined training are essential for all militaries operating in contested areas. This incident also underscores the evolving complexity of modern military technology. The Seahawks' countermeasures, sensors, and flight capabilities were essential in managing the threat. Similarly, the Chinese destroyers' radar systems, missile readiness, and fighter jet coordination illustrate how modern forces can exert significant pressure without firing a shot. The interplay between technology and human skill defines the outcome of such encounters. While hardware provides capability, human judgment, experience, a discipline ultimately prevent escalation and ensure mission success. Finally, the encounter provides a critical lesson for global security. Reminds us that military presence and readiness are as much about signaling and deterrence as they are about combat capability. Both the U.S. and China sent clear messages that night. 1. That the U.S. can operate in international waters with confidence and precision. And 2. That China is vigilant in defending its claims. The engagement did not escalate, but it illuminated the fragile balance that exists in contested regions. One mistake, one miscommunication, could have turned a routine patrol into an international crisis. In conclusion, The South China Sea standoff demonstrates the delicate balance of modern military operations, where technology, training, and judgment must work in harmony. The U.S. helicopter crew's calm professionalism ensured a safe outcome, while the Chinese forces displayed calculated assertiveness. The encounter reinforces the importance of discipline, preparation, and clear protocols in high-stakes environments. As geopolitical tensions continue to rise, such incidents will remain critical case studies for both strategy and operational readiness.